Ahoy, welcome back to another video. It is now the end of September, which means it's time to talk about another month's worth of games. I post one of these videos at the end of each month, just kind of recapping the games I played each month leading up to Game of the Year. At the end of the year, I can look back and see what my favorites were. September was dominated primarily by one game, and that is Hollow Knight Silksong. I will talk about that one here in a moment, but I'll talk about some of the other games I played a little bit less, a lot less, before I get to Silksong. So, first one up is actually Dark Deity 2. Some may remember I talked about this game in March. It came out on Steam. This is an indie Fire Emblem-like with a pixel art style. Reminds me a lot of the Game Boy Advance Fire Emblems, but all that being said, it got a Switch 2 or a Switch 1. I'm playing on Switch 2 port this month, so I picked the game up again. I don't play my Steam Deck a whole lot, especially now that I have the Switch 2, so it's not always charged. So I double dipped on this one. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm already further than I was on the Steam version, about 5 hours in. If you've played a Fire Emblem, this game, to me, it reminds me a lot visually from like the animations in the battles and just like the overall just pixel feel of the game to like the Game Boy Advance Fire Emblems, but it has a lot more of the later series mechanics, like lots of skills. There's a branching promotion system, like what you promote your units into. I like the game a lot. I played Dark Deity 1 on the Switch. I enjoyed that game despite its flaws. I had some weird bugs in that game. I thought the game was pretty imbalanced. The story was whatever. I think Dark Deity 2 is better across the board. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to putting more time into it. And I actually have a little bit of motivation to finish this game because I told myself I can't play the new Final Fantasy Tactics remaster that's coming out until I finish Dark Deity 2 because I don't want two like tile-based strategy games going on at once. So yeah, Dark Deity 2 is great. Really enjoying it, and I want to put more time into it. Another game I put time into, I mentioned Fire Emblem. They actually released a Fire Emblem mobile game this last week. They shadow dropped a game called Fire Emblem Shadows. Yeah, so this game is like an auto battler, like I don't know what you call it. Like there's three people in a match. It's online matchmaking, and like two people are the light, one person's the shadow, and the shadow tries to kill the light. And got balloons on my screen. I don't know how I did that. And the shadow character is like trying to be undercover and trick the light, and it's an interesting concept, I guess. Although with three players, if you're the light and you know you're the light, between the rounds when you have to pick like, okay, which person is the evil person, person A or person B, you have a 50-50 shot at all times because there's only two other people, and oftentimes it's pretty easy to guess who's the bad guy based off of them just doing bad guy things and killing you and your other teammate. But the only real gameplay in the game is just you're dropping spells using the touchscreen. The game's very whatever. It's fine. The story's whatever. It's goofy. It's bad. It's a mobile game. And I do kind of judge it a little differently being a mobile game because this is a game I'm not playing at home when I have my access to my PlayStation, my Switch, and everything. This is the game I'm playing, sitting there waiting in line for something. A game I'm playing at work when I'm wasting time at lunch, whatever. Just, it's not a game I'm putting full effort into, so I don't expect the same thing back from it. It is okay. It is fine. I don't hate it. I think it's a weird release. I don't fully understand the motivation behind its release. It feels like a weird thing for intelligent systems to make. The monetization system isn't too egregious, so I'm like, I wonder what like even the financial push is behind this. I don't know. It's an interesting title because it exists. I don't think it's interesting because the gameplay is super captivating. But I still check in on it every day. I get a couple of my daily challenges. It's pretty non-invasive. I just play it for a couple minutes and I put it down. So yeah, Fire Emblem Shadows. Check it out. I guess it's free. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, the game I have been playing that came out in September that's taking up most of my time is Hollow Knight Silksong. Little context, I'm not going to spoil anything. I about 40, I think it's 43 hours in. I have rolled credits. I'm trying to get all the endings though, so I've gotten, I'll just say a few of the endings, and there are a couple more I want to get that are going to take more time. I am personally trying to 100% it. I played Hollow Knight 1 back on the Switch, 7 years ago or so, and I loved it. I did everything in the game that I physically could, that I had the skill and patience to learn. So I am. I don't think Silksong is. I don't know if I think it's harder than Hollow Knight 1, but I think my experience with that game has helped me in this game, and I don't feel like I'm really having to grind too hard for any of these challenges. There's been a couple annoying things that I've had to put more time into, but overall, I love the game feel, and I love the platforming in this game. You have a little pogo, like if you hold down and you swing, you can hit things below you and pogo up. They have some really fun platforming in this game, with all your different platforming abilities in addition to that pogo. In Silksong, I feel like there was a specific, in Hollow Knight 1, there was a specific section in that game where there's a really difficult platforming gauntlet. It was called the Path of Pain. It's pretty notorious. And I enjoyed the challenge of that platforming, but I didn't like how it was all in one section. What I like in Silksong is I feel like they spread out that fun platforming, but over the course of a lot of smaller sections to where you still have that fun challenge, but you don't have to go through like a gauntlet of 15, 20 minutes of platforming, and if you lose, you start all over. So I love the platforming. The bosses, they definitely made a choice in this game where most of these significant bosses do 2 little pips or hearts of damage. So you start the game with 5, masks shards of health, and a lot of the important bosses do 2. So right off the bat, you get hit 3 times, you're dead. The way the game kind of balances that though is you do have a pretty generous heal. It's easy to get up and away from a boss and hide, jump high up out of their range. And if you heal, you stop where you're at. So you can kind of hang up on the wall and heal, and you get 3 health back when you heal. And then it's relatively generous. I think it's like 9 hits, and you can earn another heal. So you take more damage, but the heal feels safer most of the time, and you heal a lot more back. Now, there's obviously scenarios where some bosses are really quick. There's not a lot of healing windows. Come to be expected if you play a game like this. So there are some times where it can be frustrating. But I felt like in those quicker, faster bosses, you just get in a rhythm with their attacks and you kill them before they can kill you. There's one boss in particular. It took me a few tries. It was a very fast boss, but once I learned its rhythm, and I just kind of just fought the boss on its level. I wasn't trying to worry about healing. I wasn't trying to get a bunch of attacks. I was just dodge attack, get 1 hit, dodge attack, get 1 hit, dodge attack, 1 hit. And I just got in this flow state, and the bosses can be very satisfying when you get to that point with them, when you feel like you're learning them, and you feel like you're beating them at their game. When you're not getting hit in this game, as dumb as it sounds, when you're not getting hit, this game is very satisfying. Most of the areas in the game I thought were fine to explore. There is one notorious area that, if you've looked online, anyone's opinions, mine included, it's a very notorious area in the mid game that extends into the late game, where the gimmick of the area is it's very easy to lose your ability to heal, and that can make exploring it very daunting. And there's a boss rush where if you don't have a shortcut, you can end up in that long boss rush without the ability to heal, and then the boss starts with an enemy gauntlet, and then you got to fight the boss. So it can be a very frustrating experience. But if you really explore or just look up where the shortcut is, it can make it a little bit easier. And then if you're patient, like anything else in this game, if you're patient, You'll eventually overcome it. It's just like how much patience can you have for sometimes? Because sometimes the game is really pulling out all the punches on you. It's being cheap. It's throwing traps at you out of nowhere. It's expecting you to deal with its bullshit and learn its bullshit and master its bullshit. And for me, I really enjoy that experience. And I actually absolutely love this game. It is easily my number 2 on the year so far, behind Clair Obscur. Silksong, like I said, I'm not done with the full, like, all the endings, but I don't think it's gonna change to number 1, and I don't think it's gonna fall to number 3. So far, this is my number 2 game of the year. I absolutely love it. I love exploring the map, just like Hollow Knight 1. I feel like the map really folds into itself really nicely. It seems real simple at first, and then you go to areas that fold back into other areas, and you find secrets and things connected in interesting ways. Finding new platforming abilities that get to other areas, like within a map. And it just keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. If anything, like, much like Hollow Knight 1, the map is almost too big. It's almost too much to explore. It's a little overwhelming. When I feel like I'm like, oh, I've got to be close to the end of the game, there's this whole other chunk here. Like I said, I'm like 43 hours in. It's probably going to take me close to 50 to finish, which is a lot for a Metroidvania. 50 hours for a Metroidvania. It's a lot to ask. But luckily for me, I've been enjoying it almost the whole way. There's been a couple of frustrating sticking moments on a couple different bosses. For the most part, I've been trucking right along and enjoying it the whole way. So yeah, Silksong, easily my favorite game of September, and easily my second favorite game of the year so far. Now, to talk about a couple games that did not come out in September, came out prior to September. First one up is Rogue Prince of Persia. I believe this game, so it was early access at the beginning of the year, and then it came out in 1.0 full release in, I believe, late August. This game was kind of on my radar, but I kind of forgot about it. But it's actually recommended to me by a friend, Chris X Button Gaming. I was actually invited to be on his podcast earlier this month. Great guys over there at X Button Gaming, Chris, and talking with Jimmy as well. Really fun podcast, and on the podcast, Chris recommended I try Rogue Prince of Persia. This is a Prince of Persia game made by the Dead Cells people, and that's what it is. It is Dead Cells with a Prince of Persia coat of paint on it. Visually, it has a really cool art style, really like distinct, just like colors, and the music is very, I don't even know how to explain the music. It's very, I don't know, I'm not a music guy, but it's a very distinct music feel. And I just think the first level has a great soundtrack, and every level, kind of like Dead Cells, you go from one level, you explore like kind of like a mini Metroidvania map, and then you go to the next area, and there's like a new setting, new enemies, and then you do a couple of those, you get to a boss, and then you do a couple more enemies or areas after that, you get to another boss. So it's very similar to Dead Cells if you played that game. I feel like it's a little easier than Dead Cells, which kind of makes sense, being a tied to an IP. Maybe they wanted to make it a little more approachable for people. I'm still working my way through it. I got to the second boss and I died. I think there's only 3 bosses in a run. I might be mistaken. Maybe there's more. But I got to the second boss of 3, and I haven't played in about a week. But I want to jump back into that game. I'm really enjoying it. And I plan on finishing it. I'm just like kind of an embarrassment of riches of like 2D action games this year, like Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, Shinobi, Prince of Persia, Silksong. Just tons of good games this year. But then the last game I want to talk about is actually, if I can pull it out from over here, with Nintendo's announcement of the Virtual Boy coming to NSO, I got my Virtual Boy back out. I've been playing it. I'm trying to collect the Virtual Boy set. It's only 14 games, but I've got 4 of them now, and the one I'm playing this month is called Virtual League Baseball. It is a baseball game, and I've been a fan of baseball my whole life. The Astros are my baseball team. They just got eliminated from the playoffs, so this is my outlet. I'm playing baseball on the Virtual Boy to make myself feel better. But yeah, it's a pretty simple baseball game as far as baseball games go. It's over 30 years old. But I guess the only saving grace of it is a Virtual Boy game. So if you're actually in the goggles and you're looking into it, it has like a distinct feel because it's a Virtual Boy game. It looks like nothing else because it's a Virtual Boy game. But the actual baseball mechanics is very simple. You're in a batter's box. Your batter's like swinging his bat around like this, and you just use one of the D-pads to move around the batter's box, and you press the A button to swing, and then you hit the ball, and they catch it or they don't. When you hit the ball, it goes out to a top-level view of a baseball field, and it's a kind of a neat view. You see little players run around like that. It's not super in-depth, though, and then when you're pitching, it's a very similar experience. You do the thing where kind of like a Mario Golf or any golf game for that matter, the 3-button thing where you press the button and you press it again, like the meter, you press it to start and the meter goes here and you press it again. So when you're pitching, you do that. You press it at the start and you press it at the end, and then it'll like time your speed, and you can throw. I think you hold different buttons on the D-pad. I haven't fully figured it out yet, but I think you hold different buttons on the D-pad to throw like a curveball or like a changeup or a fastball. I don't really understand the mechanics super well because I was playing. You pick like a country to play as. So you pick like America versus like Japan or Russia or like Czechoslovakia, Germany, a bunch of different countries. And I was playing against one of the European countries, I can't remember. And I was doing real well. And then all of a sudden my pitcher just starts throwing like 30 miles an hour pitch. And I think maybe like he was like getting tired or something, but I didn't know what was indicating that my pitcher was tired. He just went from throwing 95-mile-an-hour heaters to just like throwing ephuses like 35 miles an hour, which is also kind of funny because the game actually has the ball like go like this, and it's like, ooh, look at the 3D visuals. It's a little silly, but yeah, it's only a fun game because it's a Virtual Boy game, and it like has that shock factor. But if you were to emulate this game would not be really worth your time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more in the Virtual Boy. I'm going to try to play a good chunk of the library before it comes to NSO, just so I'm like ready to compare real hardware to the NSO equivalent that they're selling for $100. But yeah, that's all the games I played this month. Like I said, most of my time went to Silksong this month. There's a lot of games I want to play. Like I didn't get to Borderlands 4 this month. I already mentioned Final Fantasy Tactics that comes out as the time of this recording. It comes out tomorrow, but I'm playing Dark Deity 2. And then Hades 2 just came out, but I want to wait for the physical in November, so I'm using that as my excuse to not worry about Hades 2 right now. But yeah, then October is like crazy. I think I found like 10 games in October I want to play. I'll probably get to 2 or 3 of those if I'm lucky. So many good games right now. I'm really hoping that over the holidays, over Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that, New Year's, I'm hoping I have time to just like veg out for like a week and just like play games and just drink coffee for like a week. That would be the ultimate holiday season for me. See some family and then just like play games for like a week. But we'll see how that goes. We got a couple more months before we get to that. But yeah, I think that's all I got today though. I appreciate everyone watching. I really enjoy recording these little recap videos. I don't know what the hell next month's going to look like with all the games that come out. Either I'm going to play, a couple of them, or I'm going to somehow manage to play a bunch of them, and maybe this will be a lot more games to talk about next month. But for September, I think I'm all out. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.